Howdy guys, Bookie Laura here. Today I'm going to bring you another discussion video. I've been planning this for ages but never seemed to get around to it, so I'm finally doing it. And what I want to discuss today is what makes people leave BookTube. You know what I mean. BookTube is a fantastic community where people are kind of constantly involved and everyone is really friendly and welcoming, and that is a huge asset of the community in itself. But for some reason, well, not for some reason, for many reasons, lots and lots of booktubers seem to leave quite regularly. There have been tons of booktubers who I've loved interacting with and commenting with, having chats, and then all of a sudden it's like they've disappeared out of your life, and it's absolutely crazy because you feel like you've almost developed a friendship and then it's just gone. And it just makes me think. I often find myself wondering what makes some people leave BookTube. My first sort of main reason that I think people may be inclined to leave BookTube is the time constraint. Because as anybody knows who produces videos, the time it takes to just think of the videos, to then prepare them, to then film them, to edit them, to upload them, to then interact with people, reply to comments and things is huge. It can take up a huge amount of time. And as with anything in life, time is precious. Time is really precious. So I can't help but feel that actually one of the biggest reasons that these things, people lose interest in it, is purely because it's a kind of quite a big time commitment. Second reason that I think people often give up is they're having too high expectations right from the start, because I think there are a lucky few booktubers, and probably more than a few, it just depends on how you run things, but there are lucky people out there who have great success with their channels very, very quickly. They grow really quickly for whatever reason. But there are a huge number of booktubers and YouTubers in general who actually, it's a big old slog, and actually watching the subscribers doesn't just happen overnight. It takes a really long time. Watching your number of views increase, all of these things, it takes a real lot of time, and I guess people go into it thinking, oh, other people are doing it and they're having this great success. That can be quite disheartening when you're not having the same level of success. And I suppose if that's what you're going into it for, and a lot of people, not necessarily BookTube so much, but YouTube in general, a lot of people go into it because they want success. I think we're all quite selfish in that way. Human beings want, I don't know what the word is, human beings want acknowledgement and reassurance and you know, be made to feel good by our very nature. So I think that people can go into it thinking, oh, I want to do this because I want to chat with people and I want to have loads of subscribers and I want to be the best thing ever. And actually it's more than likely going to be a slog. So I imagine that puts people off very quickly, a select few at least. Linked to that, I also feel perhaps there's an element of diminishing return, that at first when you go into it, the BookTube community is incredible, particularly if you're doing the BookTube newbie tag. You will nearly always get people who make the effort to go and comment on these booktubers, to make them feel part of the community, to big up their channel and tags and what have you. And somewhere along the way that kind of fizzles out a bit, so you get a kind of big explosion at the start of people supporting and encouraging, and then as you become a sort of newish booktuber but not brand new, that can fizzle away. And I think that's the diminishing return element, that you feel like you're putting in more effort but actually getting less back, whether that's in terms of subs or likes or views or comments, whatever it is that you sort of look to as a way of measuring your success and what have you, that can fizzle out, I think. And whilst the BookTube community is fantastic for welcoming people, I guess it can give you false expectations. I don't know. And the final reason that I want to talk about today is that I've heard a lot of people, and particularly booktubers who I have been close to, talking about this pressure that they feel about making content. And I think this is something that puts a lot of people off. And I think everyone that I've spoken to has acknowledged that actually it's perceived pressure. There isn't actually any pressure coming from anywhere apart from ourselves, but there's that pressure that you want to get content out there regularly, and you feel like if you're not, then you're failing, and then, oh, I might as well give up because I'm not uploading regularly enough, or I'm not uploading quality content, and what's the point in even taking part if I'm not going to put out the best videos? Everybody else's videos are better than mine, that kind of thing. And I think for me, BookTube is a hobby, and for everybody, BookTube is a hobby. It's something that you do because you want to talk about books, and that perceived pressure can make it feel like too much of a job, too much of a serious thing, and And it should be for fun, in much the same way as reading should be for fun, and it can start to feel too pressured and like a job. I guess that would be a big factor for me. I'm sure there are other reasons, and please do tell me if you think there are other significant reasons that people leave BookTube, then I would love to know. In my experience, whenever I've sort of felt like leaving BookTube, and that does happen a lot, I'm not going to lie, probably at least once a month, I think, why do I even bother? It's usually because time constraint. As a single parent working full-time, time is not a thing I have a lot of. It really, really isn't. But I choose to do BookTube because I enjoy it. But at times I can feel like, oh, I only have this much time spare and I'm using it to make videos, and then I can't produce the content that I want. So I think for me, it is that the time constraint makes me feel like I can't meet the perceived pressure that I put on myself, that I want to make amazing videos and I can't. But equally, another factor that I haven't actually discussed, I think, is that generally, the more active that I am in the community in general, commenting, watching other people's videos, and just generally becoming a part of that community, the more motivated I feel to make content and keep going. And I think that when time is pushed, I like the time to watch the videos, therefore I don't get tagged as much, and therefore I don't feel as inspired to make the videos. It's just a whole big mess, but that's just my experience. I would be really interested to know your experiences. What are the reasons that you find yourself sometimes considering not carrying on with BookTube? Does it feel like a time constraint issue? Do you feel like you're not getting enough sort of success, for want of a better word? Or actually, should we be asking the question, what is it that makes some people stay? So I would love to know your experiences. Are there any times you feel like leaving, and why? And also, what is it that makes you stay? And for me, it's that I know that the disappointment that I've felt when I've connected with other people through BookTube, and then one day they're just gone. And actually I think, oh, I miss you, for want of a better way of putting it. I've missed a couple of people that have suddenly gone. And I feel like, I don't know. I don't want the same thing to happen. And for me, I suppose there is an element of every time you make a new video, or every time you get a new subscriber, that's the most you've ever got, and that's the most videos you've ever made. So I don't want to just stop, because then it makes it all that I've done so far feel like a waste. So I suppose that's what keeps me going. What keeps you going, and what puts you off? Tell me. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.